Lion Forge done did it again. Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta bringing you that street geek and nerd soul. And check it, today's episode of Respond React is going to be about Andre the Giant Closer to Heaven. That's right, brought to you by Lion Forge Comics and written by Brandon Easton, illustrated by Denis Medri, lettered by Adrian Martinez, with a book design by Kristen Fitzner-Denton. Yo, I'm gonna be honest, yo. This is a well put together book. Before we even get into how much I enjoyed the story, this book is just well put together. The opening design is amazing. The way it's the way the foreword is set up, the way the cast that put this book together is set up, it's just well designed. Also, one thing that I would love to go into is the way this book is done, as far as the way it's written from Brandon Easton is it's honestly amazing. And from a guy that loves to read kind of like kind of like bios and a lot of autobiographies, about people's life, about how they got into the business, whatever their business may be, whether it's music or in film or whatever. I always love hearing that story. And I'll be honest, after reading through this book, I truly think that this is like one of the better ways to tell someone's life story. It's really, the art and the words go together so well. And while I'm on the art, the illustration for the way this book, the way the story is told, is similar to like a director for a movie. You got to get the director to set the right tone, the right atmosphere for something. And in this case, the illustration by Denis it just sets the tone for the book so well. Now, Andre the Giant, Closer to Heaven, before I go any further, pretty much chronicles the life from a youth all the way to, his passing for Andre the Giant. He recalls his time as a child, coming up in the wrestling industry, internationally and in the States, and, talks about his triumphs, a couple of things that he's had problems with, people that he's had problems with, and it's all done very well, almost as a recollection. And when I say it's done well, I mean it's done well. It's written as if kind of like he's just kind of looking over his life. And it is just written well, no matter what part of his life it is, whether it's 1990s or it's the 40s when he was young. I mean, the stuff about his childhood, his father, his his school, his first manager, meeting Vince McMahon, even his son, it all ties together extremely well with art that is just it just sets the tone so well. I really enjoyed this book. Now, of course, I grew up in the time where Andre the Giant was, I grew up around like WrestleMania 2-3 time. So, I'm primed to like this book. But I remember when Andre the Giant he was that guy. He was amazing. And just to see something like this and get a deeper look into his life and the way it's done and the way it's written, it's a page turner. It really is. You're always interested. You're like, man, he did all this, man, he went here, man, he went there. And it's brought to you by some great illustration. It's brought to you by some great pacing, and it's brought to you by a great team. And I would like to stop in on the writing real quick. There's a part where there's some knowledge that gets dropped, and it just hit me so much. There's a part that says, with success, everything comes easier, especially vices. A man leaving adolescence often confuses excess with freedom. Part of me wondered how many men learned that lesson the hard way. And that's pretty dope, man, because it's true. When you're young, you do think that excess is equal to freedom. And I've never seen it put in that way before, but it really connected with me when I was reading it. And then there's another spot that, really connects very well with me, which was later on where he had an incident with another wrestler on his trip called Bad News Allen, where he kind of had to check himself. And I think it really just showed that he wasn't just always a stand-up guy. He made his mistakes. He tried his best. And it really is a story about a complete man. It's not, all of the rosy things. It's not all of the bad things. This book covers the complete emotions of who this guy was. And before I wrap this up, I'd like to leave with another quote from the book that I thought was really dope. In his recollection, it says, "The most dangerous combination on earth is youth, ego, and validation. Separately, they were problematic. Together, it was an atomic bomb of human stupidity." And when you think about that, especially mixed with the quote from Excess and Freedom, you really get to see what, fame and stardom and this celebrity does, to people in general. And it gives you an insight into sometimes these people aren't crazy. Sometimes the combination of this stuff is a bad mix altogether. But I really, really enjoyed this story. If you like wrestling, I would say you need to pick this up. Especially if you grew up in the 80s and 90s. I think you definitely need to pick this up. I haven't watched wrestling since like 95. So I'm not sure what wrestling is like now, but it's definitely a dope book. And especially if you're into stories of athletes or sports stars and kind of like how they came into the game and stuff, this is a great addition to your bookshelf, yo. I have to recommend it to you. Andre the Giant, Closer to Heaven is a great read, and it's got some charm, and it really gives you the emotion of a man that came from, humble beginnings and never thought that he would ever be on top of the world, and it just really, really, especially the way they end it, it's just touching. And from the creators, from his daughter who was involved in the creation, it's a solid book, really. It's some fine work. I definitely think if you're into sports, if you're into wrestling especially, you should check out Andre the Giant, Closer to Heaven. It's a really dope book. Anyway, of course, I'd like to say peace to Denis Medri, peace to Lion Forge Comics, and also a big peace and shout out to Brandon Easton for setting the tone of a book where it's honestly just a page turner. This book is written very well. So anyway, of course, I'm going to check y'all next time and chop it up with me below. Have you read this book? Have you not? If you've read it, let me know what you thought about it. I'd love to talk about this book more and more. This book, I'm gonna have to read through it again. I got another copy for my younger brother to check out. So anyway, of course, like, comment, subscribe. VA, what up? LA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. And of course, one love. Peace.